Welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Sinit Mulugeta, and today, as alumni of the African Girls Can Code initiatives, I'm excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech cares with Doreen Bogdan-Martin, the director of ITU's Telecommunication Development Bureau. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2021. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the first Thursday of each April. In 2021, Girls in ICT Day is 22 April. The objectives of Girls in ICT Day is to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing fields of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. I'm pleased to be part of this session today. The goals of this series includes to interest and inspire girls and younger women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech and share information about their career journeys and work, offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals and other UN goals, showcase initiatives that are working with girls to support them in ICT studies or future ICT careers, provide girls and young women in tech with a leadership opportunity to represent and promote a girls in tech organization with which they are involved and promoted to a broader international audience. To kick this session off, I'm going to introduce you to African Girls Can Code initiatives. African Girls Can Code initiatives is an initiative of the ITU in collaboration with UN Women and the African Union Commission. It teaches girls how to code, mainstream ICT and coding into national curricula and launch media campaigns at national levels to close the gender digital divide. HCCI was born out of a year-long joint project of ITU and UN Women as part of the collaboration in the celebration of Girls in ICT Day events in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which are usually hosted by the AUC. I was one of the girls from Ethiopia who participated in the launch camp held in the summer of 2018 with other girls from African countries. It was equally an exciting cultural exchange experience. I was inspired by fellow girls who have interest in tech careers. My passion for tech continues to grow, and I'm working towards advancing in this area. In this regard, I'm delighted now to shift to a conversation with Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Director of ITU's Telecommunication Development Bureau, on this subject. Doreen, glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sinit, and really looking forward to hearing more from you as well and how you've used the experience of the African Girls Can Code initiative and how that has impacted your life and your journey. I guess a few words on how I got into my function and how I got interested in technology. So I grew up in a very science-oriented family. So lots of interest from my siblings, my father, and I was a chemistry major in university, but then became a bit discouraged after 2 years in the field. And so I switched to more social science fields. And when I graduated, I had the opportunity to take up my master's degree in an international program because I felt pretty strongly that I wanted to do something in the international space. And in my studies, the sort of world of technology and the potential of technology became something I was inspired by and developed a passion for. The fact that you could have 3 satellites in geostationary orbit and actually connect the world was something that I was just amazed by. And so I sort of crafted my postgraduate studies in that space, and I got an internship in the US Department of Commerce, working in telecommunications policy. And from there, my professional journey in the space of technology began.
Okay, so What was your path from then to now?
So, starting as an intern, as I mentioned, my internship then became a paid position, which was great, and of course that made my parents very happy too. I was a junior policy analyst, and then I became a regulatory officer and covered Latin America, covered satellite communications, and I also began to cover ITU issues, particularly in the development space. So I was offered an opportunity to go to the ITU in 1993 and help the ITU prepare for its first World Telecommunications Development Conference. And while it was intended to be a temporary assignment, it ended up being the beginning of a long, fabulous, incredible career at the ITU, where I've been for the past 25 years.
Okay, so what's your job intake now?
So I'm currently the director of the development part of the ITU. So I lead the Development Bureau, and my focus is all about helping countries to connect the unconnected. So we have 3.7 billion people today that are not connected. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that governments, policy leaders, regulators have the tools that they need to put in place the right environments to connect the unconnected. Of course, we work with the private sector, civil society, academia, and we want to make sure that everyone on the planet has access to meaningful, affordable, and safe connectivity.
Okay, so what do you like about your job and also challenges did you face getting to your current position?
I think what I like most about my job would be the people. And of course, with COVID, I miss being with people. The greatest part about my job is seeing the impact of the work that we do on people's lives and what connectivity can do. And you can speak to this yourself, learning coding and having digital skills, and how incredibly transformational that can be. So it's that potential and the power of the mission of the ITU and what that can bring to help better people's lives, communities' lives, and help countries thrive and flourish. I'd say there's always challenges, but challenges make it interesting. If we hit a roadblock or a bump in the road, we just need to kind of step back and reconsider our approach and just proceed on. Because I do think that our work and our mission is so important. And so we have to do everything we can to be able to give people and countries the tools that they need.
And so can you share an example or two of things you have done in or with tech that you're particularly proud of?
Yes. So, two things that I'm particularly proud of, I would say one has to do with youth. We did an incredible youth summit some years ago. It was called the BYND Beyond. And it was sort of a first for the ITU, but it was an incredible experience for me personally. And I think we all benefited from it, bringing young people to the table, letting young people drive the conversation and shape the outcome. It was simply incredible. And it has since inspired me to create Generation Connect Advisory Board, a Generation Connect Youth Summit, so that we can basically take our learnings from the BYND Summit and make this something that's part of our everyday work at the ITU. So that was just amazing. I remain excited about and proud of. The second one would be Women in Tech Digital Gender Gap, and seeing how there was so much happening in this space, so many initiatives, so many projects, but nothing was changing. And so I pushed to create a new global partnership that's called Equals. It's a global partnership about bridging the digital gender gap. And what's unique is that we don't focus on a single piece of the digital gender gap, we focus on the whole problem. So, on the access piece, on the digital skills piece, and then, of course, on the women in tech piece, which eventually impacts women in leadership positions in the tech sector. We started with a handful of co-founders, and today we have over 100 partners, and I would say that partnership is thriving, and I'm very proud of that.
So since the ITU organized the camp 4 years ago, What is the plan? I mean, is it to train the students for some time and leaving them, or follow them and help them if they are interested in STEAM?
That's a great question. Our experience in working with the coding camps, both in Africa and in the Americas, I think it's been great for the ITU. And I believe, and you can share your story as well, that it's been very beneficial to those that have gone through the coding camp. We don't want that it's just a one off. We want that it's part of a learning process and that we can help work with young women like yourself and really build the pipeline of the next generation women in tech leaders. We're looking to expand. So we're looking to not just have it in Africa and in the Americas, but also to bring these coding programs to the other ITU regions.
Okay, so what advice do you have for me in overcoming challenges in STEAM?
I think that STEM opens so many opportunities. And I think having a strong background in technology opens the door for you to excel in any field that you might choose, whether it's law, medicine, chemistry, or making shoes, fashion, design. I think that technology background is absolutely critical. There's definitely a gap in terms of available skill sets in the workforce today. So having this kind of background will give you an edge in whatever professional opportunity you choose to pursue. Sinit, thank you for those questions. And I'd like to hear a little bit more about you. And if you can maybe just share with us what inspires you. You did the coding camp. Tell us what inspires you.
Thank you, Doreen. I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandfather was a shoemaker. So I grew up watching how to make shoes. And when I joined the camp, I learned how to code and stitch patterns on turtle stitch. So I combined or I coupled the traditional shoemaking way of my grandfather with the way I learned in the ADCCI camp or with the coding on turtle stitch. So I coded my own patterns and came up with my own shoes.
I hope you can share with us some images of those shoes. Have you thought about creating your own sort of e-commerce platform so that you can actually sell your shoes online?
Actually, I didn't do that, but I'm planning to do that now.
That's great. And can you tell us a little bit about how you came to have an interest in technology? What led you to join our coding camp?
I started learning about technology when I was little, starting from grade one. I was learning about ICT in schools where I didn't have the interest for tech at that time. But in 2018, when I joined the camp, I started to get the interest for tech. I coded on the turtle stitch, and when I get back to home also, I continued to code on the turtle stitch. So after some time joining the ADCI camp, I also joined another coding camp, which is called the U Code Girls. So in that camp, I made my own website and won the Catherine Johnson Award. So that's how I get into tech.
That's great. Thank you for that. And what kinds of challenges have you faced in getting yourself into technology?
When I get to tech, I told you first doing my own shoes. So some people, including some parts of my family, don't like that. They didn't accept a woman making shoes or a girl making shoes. That's the challenge I faced. And also now I'm planning to study computer science. In some places, or especially in my place, people don't consider computer science as a profession. I mean, a profession is for them. It's like being a doctor or being an engineer. That's the challenge I face.
Interesting. And I guess a girl creating a website might also have been a shocker too, I guess. Can you tell us what are your plans, your next steps in technologies? Do you have a specific project or idea that you would like to pursue?
So my next step in tech is gonna be I'm going to study computer science when I join universities and do different projects, including developing the shoemaking things, or and also I want to contribute something related to nanotechnology.
Nanotechnology is certainly an upcoming field. So it's great that you also have interest there. So, Sanit, I understand you took your grade 12 exams, I think it was earlier this month, and you'll be on your way to university pursuing, as I understand, computer science. If you were to share your thoughts, give a message to young women in tech that are thinking as you are today, what should be their next steps? What would be your message to those young women?
We don't have to say if I can. We have to say just we can. As a woman, we can do anything we want. And I want to say that we have unique voice, even related to tech. Working in a group of men as a woman wants to tell us that we are unique or we have a unique voice. So we have to move on. We all have the power to be creative. It's just the matter of finding out our natural voice. So it's time to find out our natural voice this today.
I love that. Thank you. We can, says Sinit. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I hand back to you, Sinit. Thank you.
That wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in a City. Thank you so much, Doreen. I really enjoyed our chat today. Thank you to our viewers too for watching.